Again.
Okay, hello everyone. We are from team Mildred Larson. We would like to explain about the theory of achieving cross-language equivalence through meaning-based translations. But before that, I would like to introduce our group members. First of all is Muhammad Rizari Jalus, student number 041. Next is Andika Prasetyo, student number 044, and lastly, Amanda Reza Pirawas, student number 048. I am the moderator, by the way. Okay, let's meet the biography of the theorist, or I would like to say the biography of Mildred Larson. Not much known about her childhood, but we do know that Mildred Larson is a translator and a linguist that was born in the United States of 1925 and passed away at the age of 79 at 2014. Although many sources believe that she passed away at 2 or 4 years before 2014, or maybe 2010 or 2012, but I don't have enough evidence for that. She is famous for inventing the cross-language theory and the book called Meaning-Based Translation, A Guide to Cross-Language Equivalence. The book was published by the University Press of America by 1997. This work explores the principles and practices of translation, emphasizing the importance of conveying meaning accurately across languages. Other works, such as Translation Theory and Practice, in 1991, she added another book called Translation, Theory and Practice, Tension and Independence, which delves into complexities of translation process. It provides insights into interplay between theory and practical applications. Her legacy continues to influence the fields of linguistics, translation, and education. Another fact about her is she is a significant part of her career and education was through her work with the Summer Institute of Linguistics, or SIL, and the Wycliffe Bible translators. SIL, in particular, has been a leading institution for training linguists and Bible translators. It's likely that Larson received specialized training through SIL programs, courses, and fieldwork experience related to language analysis, translation principles, and cross-cultural communication. In addition to any formal education, Larson's extensive fieldwork experience as a Bible translator would have contributed significantly to her understanding of translation challenges and the need for cross-language equivalence. Her insights likely arose from grappling with translation issues firsthand while working on biblical and religious texts in various languages. Next is the theory explanation, and the explanator is Lisa.
Next, please. Okay, is the brief explanation of the theory by Builder Larson. Larson's theory revolves around the concept of achieving equivalence between source and target text across language. This goes beyond the literal word-for-word translation to ensure that the translated text conveys the same meaning, effect, and function as the original. Larson's theory is often described as meaning-based or semantic translation. She argues that the translator should first analyze the meaning of the source text, then discover the meaning in the target text, and finally transfer and re-express the meaning into that target language. Next. This is the process of translation by Wilder Larson. Based on the diagram, you can see that there are some steps in process of translation. First, the translator goes through, need to find the meaning of the message or text to be translated in their source language. And then after the translator understood the meaning, The translator then need to re-express the message using translation equivalence in the target language. Next. Meaning-based translation by Belder 1984. Translation is the communication of meaning of a source language text conducted by replacing the form of sound language with the form of the target language. There are two types of translation. First is form-based translation, and the second is meaning-based translation. Next. Form-based translation attempt to follow the form of source language, also known as literal translation, that can only be understood if the general grammatical form of the two languages is similar. Meanwhile, meaning-based makes every effort to communicate the meaning of the source language in the natural form of the receptor language, also known as idiomatic translation, that use the natural forms of the receptor language both in grammatical and construction and lexical. Next. The next will be explained by Andika.
Yeah, thank you very much, Riza and Abin, for the opportunity. Could you please go to the next slide? Okay, so when it comes to form-based translation and also meaning-based translation, it basically still have meanings when it comes to form-based, but the meanings itself is not really accurate and sometimes get confused. So when it comes to form-based translation, it is actually a translation that is literal and deliberate. For example, if we have the word French here, Madame Odette, passenger à destination de Douala, est demandé au téléphone. When it comes to have translation in English in a literal term, that means Madame Odette, passenger with destination Douala, is demanded on the telephone. Now, this sentence is still similar to the grammatical form in the original sentence, but the sentence has an ambiguous statement on it. The word demanded here is not really mentioned who is being demanded or who is conducting that. Is it Madame Odette that is really doing a demanded thing on the telephone, or is it someone else on the other side of the phone that is demanded to have a talk with Madame Odette? Next slide, Bin. Now, it would be different if the translation approach would be meaning-based. Now, the sentence is still the same, but however, if we try to translate that into an idiomatic way, that would be Miss Odette, passenger for the world, you are once on the phone. So this sentence basically have no ambiguous statements on it. It is also modified significantly in order for us to have better understanding on the translation. The same would be on for the next slide. So the same concept is applied in this second sentence. Here we have the word in English, Israel response to Iran attack. But however, if we translate that literally in Indonesian, it means Israel memberatkan respons ke serangan Iran, which is really an ambiguous statement because it doesn't really mention the real purpose of these statements. And yeah, it basically have an ambiguous statement to the original version. But however, in the next slide, if we take a look on the meaning-based translation, that would be different and that would be much more understandable. Next slide, please. Show us the next slide. Yeah, here we see in the meaning-based translation example of that original sentence, it is more structurized and it is modified significantly. So the original sentence is the same, but if we change that into an idiomatic way in Indonesian, it would be Israel mempertimbangkan balasan terhadap serangan Iran, which the sentence would obviously make sense and therefore makes people like us, you ordinary people, understand what the sentence is about. Another example would be in the next two slides, Bin. Could you please go to next slide? There's actually one more example that I want to show. So this is practically the same concept of form-based translation example. Here we have the word in English. German watchdog finds AE's white card audits grossly negligence. So the original sentence it still makes sense. But however, if we change that to Indonesian in a literal sense, that would be pengawas anjing Jerman menemukan bahwa audit wildcard IL lalai dengan kejijikan. That is not make sense at all. The concept of form-based translation is a translation to nothing. The meaning is basically nothing. It still have meaning, but the meaning is actually nothing. Nothing to be understandable. But if we go to the meaning-based translation, next slide, Vin. Yeah, but if we go to the meaning-based translation, which in the original English will still be the same sentence for now, but in Indonesian, if we change it to an idiomatic sentence, that would be, Badan Pengawas Jerman menemukan bahwa audit wirecard AY sangat lalai. So basically, there would be a change of structure and a change of form. But however, that change of form is necessary for us to understand what the original sentence is about and understand what the original sentence conveyed us about. I would go to the next slide. This next slide is coming back for you, Bin. It's about conclusion and references. It all goes back to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dika. This is the final one, conclusion and reference. So, conclusion is Müller-Clausen's theory about meaning-based translation and form-based translation are conveying meanings which are different from one another. Meaning-based translation approach the would be translated sentence into an idiomatic way in a form of finding similarities for that literal word and try to make it more understandable for the targeted translation, while form-based translations approach the would be translated sentence using the similar structure. Keep in mind, the first one is finding similarities. The second one is using the similar the structure of the grammatical form, which sometimes can be a little bit confusing and inaccurate for some targeted translations. So it would not work for all of translations. Here are some reference. Here's the main reference, and these are our other reference that we use. Okay, that is it. Thank you for listening. Hope we very sorry for when we make a mistake. Thank you and have a good day.